Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to continue my series of full face one brand makeup tutorial, and for today's look I am going to use Too Faced Cosmetics. Before I start my eyes, I am going to prime my face with the Too Faced Hangover RX. I like this one because it's moisturizing and it does a good job on smoothing the skin as well. I don't have an eyebrow pencil from Too Faced, so I am going to use the White Peach eyeshadow palette and use this shade called On the Grill as my brow powder. I actually quite like using eyeshadow as my brow powder. This tone is just a perfect tone for my hair color as well. So I'm just gonna quickly do my brows. I have been enjoying the natural brows at the moment. So we are going to start with the eyes, and I'm going to prime my lids with the Multi-Sculpt concealer, and this one is in the shade Warm Beige. Now that the eyes is primed, I'm going to quickly set it with this shade right here called Peaches and Cream. It's just a nice white cream shade. This eyeshadow palette smells delightful. For my transition shade, I'm actually going to try and use Sweet Fig. What I have been doing lately is to apply the eyeshadow on my outer V. So I'm going to dip into Sweet Fig and concentrate that on the outer V. And slowly blending it up to the crease. And then I am going to blend a little bit on the inner corner as well, leaving the inner part or the middle area bare. And I learned this technique from Samantha Ravendall here on YouTube because we sort of have the same eye shape where it's a little bit hooded, but still there's enough space to create like an eye look that is visible. I find that her technique works for her eye shape, so I tried doing it on my eyes as well, and it makes eyeshadows pop a little bit more instead of like me going straight into transition shade. I find that packing colors makes it more visible and easy to blend out as well. So once that shade is sort of blended, I am going to dip into the shade called Fuzzy, and I'm going to put that over Sweet Fig, but this time I'm going towards the middle, so kind of merging the shades together, and I'm still using the same brush. So I want to deepen the outer V a little bit, and I'm going to go and use On the Grill, which is the shade we use for our brows, just a touch, and I'm going to blend that out in a circular motion, concentrating most of the pigment on the outer V. I'm not gonna put that on the inner corner because I find that it will look more smoky. I want to achieve a little bit of like a spring light glam look. So we're going to only put that on the outer V. So now I'm gonna go back with the same brush and dip into Sweet Fig once again and kind of blend that, mainly the edges, so we have that plummy shade peeking through. And then I'm going to add a little bit more on the inner corner. I'm going to switch my brush into like a smaller brush, and I'm going to pick up Peach, what's this called? Peach Suede, which is this one right here. And I'm going to put that on that negative space that we left on the lid, focusing this more on the crease going to the inner of the eye, because we already darkened the outer V a little bit, we don't want to add a little bit more shade. So I'm just gonna go towards the inner part of the eye. Really want to use this shade called Glistening Peach, and it's a very nice shade. Oh, you can't really tell, but it has a little bit of flecks of gold. For that to pop, I'm going to go back to my concealer, pop a little bit on my hand, and then I am going to use a smaller brush to apply that on the middle part of the eye, slightly going towards more on the inner part. And I'm going to use the brush that I used before and just blend this bit with Sweet Fig so we don't have that harsh line. And then while that concealer is still a bit wet, I'm going to use the Glistening Peach. It shows up more golden on my lid with a hint of peach, which I'm not really mad about. So now that I have that on the inner part of, in the middle part of the eye, I am going to use Peach Smoothie, which is this one right here, and pop this on the inner part to blend this shade a little bit better. So I'm just going to quickly put on mascara and finish the finishing touches on the eye, and then we're going to move on to the face. For the foundation today, I'm going to use the Peach Perfect foundation, and this one is in the shade Warm Beige. I did a review on this foundation, so I will link it up somewhere on the screen. And I still use the same shade, the same foundation, and I use the teeny tiny bit. It works great for summertime because it lasts throughout the day. It does not budge, even for humid climate, and also it leaves a very nice finish to the skin. I like applying foundations with a brush recently. I'm not sure what happened, but usually I would switch over to either a sponge or a brush. This shade is a little bit darker on me because when I purchased this last year, it was around summertime, I believe. At the moment, my skin has got a lot of eczema patches, so this foundation may not look as great as it used to when I did the review, but I promise you this is awesome for oily skin, and I highly recommend this foundation. And it looks great on photos as well. For the concealer, I'm gonna quickly go back to the Multi Sculpt concealer. And I really love this concealer because it's so hydrating, and I love the fact that even if you put this concealer on top of a powder, it still blends beautifully and it does not lift the powder that you use to set the face. And I would say that the formula is very creamy, very moisturizing, and it just blends seamlessly to the skin. I love, oh, by the way, my shade on the concealer is Warm Beige as well. And I don't really like to highlight anymore. I used to like the highlight and contouring technique, but recently I kind of gotten over it and went back to just concealing my eyes with a normal shade and then brightening it with a powder because it works best. For the translucent powder, I actually recently purchased the Too Faced Peach Perfect Loose Powder. I have not tried this before. I purchased this mainly because I was just trying to do a full face of one brand, and I found that I did not have any loose powder from Too Faced, and supposedly this loose powder is great for oily skin. Again, if you're not into heavily fragranced product, I don't think you will enjoy this, but this is what the packaging looks like. I know that Casey Holmes raves about this powder, So it comes with a protective cap, which looks like that. So you could dip your powder there and it won't create a mess. There's two shades on this powder, but I got the one that has like more of a peachy undertone. I'm just gonna quickly set my under eye before it creases. I don't like to bake anymore. I've gotten over that stage, so I now only set my under eye with a very thin layer of loose powder. Ooh, it was some of the powder went into my mouth and it tastes good. It tastes sweet, but you're not supposed to eat it. Anyway, the powder is very finely milled. It sets my under eye beautifully, and oh my gosh, it created a smoothing effect on this area right here. My skin is pretty matte. I'm not going to set the entire face because the foundation that I use sets matte anyway, so I only set the middle part of my face where I typically get super duper oily. Everywhere else I'm pretty fine. The foundation itself is really good. It doesn't feel sticky, it doesn't feel heavy, and I've put probably like 3 thin layers of foundation. So before I move on to the rest of the face, I'm just going to quickly finish up the eyes because we're already here anyway, so might as well. I'm just going to quickly dip into Sweet Fig, and I'm going to buff that all over the eyes, I mean the lower lash line, bringing that down a little bit lower. Everything I own from Too Faced is from their Peach collection except for the Natural Face palette, which I'm about to show you, but I love the Peach collection that they have, and I personally love this eyeshadow palette as opposed to the Warm Peach. Was it that one? The All Mattes? Because this one is more cool tone. It has different shades, which I don't own. I'm going to dip into Peach Suede and pop that on the inner part of my eye. And I don't want to close off my eyes too much, so I'm just going to leave the outer V. I just want a little bit of pop of color under there. So I'm going to put a little bit of Peach Sorbet, which is a warmer and lighter shade. And I'm just going to sweep that underneath the whole thing. And for the inner corner highlight, we are going to use this shade right here called Peach Eyes, and that shade is so pretty. It's a different formula. It's more of like flecks of glitter, but when applied to the eyes, it packs a punch, as you can see. I'm quickly going to apply some mascara. For bronzing and blush and highlight, I am going to use the Natural Face palette. I love this palette. This is probably my most used palette on everyday basis because one, you have everything. As you can see, I've destroyed this shade right here. I also love mixing these two blushes, and the highlight in here is amazing. So for bronzing, we are going to dive and use Sunny Honey, which is this one right here. It may appear a little bit cool toned on the pan, but on the face it creates a nice natural bronze to the skin. If you want it to look a little bit darker, you could always mix it with Tropic Like It's Hot. Tropic Like It's Hot has got a little bit more shimmer, so if you want like a bronzy glow, you can definitely use Tropic Like It's Hot. But because I have oily skin, I tend to stay away from like bronzy, from shimmery bronzer. Do my nose a little bit and my lips, and this smells so good. It smells like cocoa powder. Not sure if it tastes good. With the same brush, I am going to mix in Pink Sand and a little bit of Pink Wink for added peachy glow. Look at the flush of pink that it gave. I am so obsessed with this eyeshadow. I'm so obsessed with this face palette. The only downside is that it's pretty heavy to travel with. Other than that, if you're just at home, I highly suggest this palette. It's really good. You could even use this in your eyes. So for highlighter, I'm just going to use the the shade called Satin Sheets. It's a pretty golden highlight. It's not the most subtle highlight. It definitely is a little bit shimmery, but I'm so obsessed with this. And I probably use this palette more than my other palettes that I've owned. So for the lips, unfortunately, I don't have any good lipsticks from Too Faced. I don't know, there's something about it that I don't really enjoy, except for this one right here, which is the lip injection. I love the tingling sensation that it gives. So what I'm going to do is to just line my lips with a ColourPop lip liner. Then I'll lighten it up with the foundation brush we use. And I'm going to apply the lip injection on top. Oh, this one smells so good as well. So here is my final makeup look using Too Faced makeup. I'm so obsessed with how the eyeshadow turned out. It's pretty cool tone and peachy, and it looks pretty for summer. I'm so ready for summer. The overall face actually looked pretty good. Thankfully, this powder lightened the foundation, so it kind of matches on my neck a little bit. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more makeup looks and chatty get ready with me. And I will talk to you on my next video. Bye!